Brock Lesnar, the Beast Incarnate, had one of the most successful runs in WWE. But towards the end of his career, everything changed as he vanished from the spotlight, leaving fans to question what went wrong. WWE has kept many details hidden about his sudden disappearance, from his alleged affair with Vince McMahon to a shocking kiss with Kurt Angle. And today, we will uncover the deep secrets that led to the downfall of one of wrestling's greatest names. In early 2024, Brock Lesnar, a celebrated yet controversial figure, became entangled in a scandal that shook the wrestling world when reports revealed he was connected to a lawsuit involving former WWE chairman Vince McMahon. The case, tied to allegations of sex trafficking, claimed that McMahon had shared explicit photographs of a former WWE employee with Lesnar without her permission, and this revelation emerged as part of the wider legal troubles already surrounding McMahon, who had long faced accusations of misconduct during his time as WWE's top executive. While Brock Lesnar was not directly accused of committing any crime, his alleged connection to the case raised serious questions about his awareness and possible involvement in such activities. Lesnar, who is known for fiercely protecting his private life, has not made any public statement regarding these claims, and as more information surfaces, it remains unclear how this controversy will shape his WWE legacy or affect his future career. Although Lesnar has overcome many challenges in his life, this scandal has placed him under a very different kind of spotlight, one that directly threatens his reputation. The fallout was immediate, as WWE reportedly began to distance itself from him by blacklisting him internally and removing him from planned promotions, a surprising move for a company that had long considered him one of its biggest attractions. This marked a major turning point in WWE's relationship with the Beast Incarnate, and yes, you heard that correctly, it even led to his removal from WWE 2K24. In response to these shocking developments, WWE has taken strong steps to distance itself from the former champion, with one of the most striking moves being the changes made to the highly anticipated WWE 2K24 video game. The company decided to completely remove Brock Lesnar from the game's roster, signaling a major shift in how it deals with talent caught in controversy. Lesnar, who was expected to play a central role in the game due to his immense popularity and legendary status, was suddenly excluded as the lawsuit allegations gained attention. This removal was seen as WWE's way of protecting its public image, but it left fans shocked, since many had been eagerly waiting to play as him in the 2K series. Along with this, Lesnar's merchandise also faced heavy markdowns, with the company significantly discounting items linked to him, a move not unusual when WWE looks to quietly distance itself from a superstar facing negative publicity. When WWE wants to distance itself from a star who has become a risk to its brand, slashing merchandise prices is often a way to quietly clear out stock while reducing that superstar's presence in promotional assets. And the same strategy was used for Brock Lesnar. For many longtime fans, this blow to his reputation did not come as a complete surprise, as the Beast has faced many moments where his character and personal choices were questioned. Lesnar is no stranger to scandals, and this next revelation will both remind the old fans and shock the newer ones about one of the most controversial moments in his past, the infamous kiss with Kurt Angle in 2003. Brock Lesnar and Kurt Angle had one of the most unforgettable rivalries in WWE history, a feud that was as intense as it was personal. Their rivalry was fierce and entertaining, yet behind the curtain, their on-screen hostility often hid a sense of respect and camaraderie that sometimes found its way into unexpected moments. One of the most unusual and unsettling incidents took place on an episode of SmackDown in 2003, a moment that fans would continue to talk about for years. During their match, Lesnar and Angle, both elite athletes and intense competitors, were putting on a classic contest when things suddenly shifted. Lesnar extended his hand as if offering a sincere handshake, and although Angle appeared cautious, he eventually accepted the gesture. What followed shocked everyone, as Lesnar smirked, yanked Angle close, and kissed him on the lips, leaving the crowd and commentators in disbelief. The incident was both surprising and controversial, and while some saw it as a tactic to distract Angle, others believed it revealed a glimpse into the private bond the two men may have shared away from the spotlight. Despite the intensity of their high-stakes rivalry, from unforgettable clashes like their iconic WrestleMania encounter, Lesnar and Angle were always known for their mutual respect and their willingness to push boundaries in the name of entertainment. But the kiss they shared stands out as one of WWE's most extreme and bizarre moments. That scene became a lasting example of how professional wrestling often blurs the lines between pure athletic competition, theatrical storytelling, and sometimes even hints of personal relationships behind the scenes. It highlighted the undeniable chemistry between two of WWE's most celebrated performers, whether romantic or not, and reminded fans that the company has always been skilled at keeping its deepest secrets under wraps. Yet the next revelation about Brock Lesnar will shock you even more, as it dives into his relationship with Sable. Despite his reclusive nature and his strong efforts to keep his personal life private, this chapter of Lesnar's story has remained one of the most talked about when he is not competing. Brock Lesnar prefers to live a quiet life on his farm with his wife. Rena Marlette Lesnar, better known to wrestling fans as the former women's champion, Sable. Yes, you heard that right. The legendary powerhouse is married to one of the most iconic women in wrestling history. Recent photos of the couple spotted backstage at a concert have once again sparked interest in their off-screen lives. Sable rose to fame in the late 1990s as one of the most recognizable and controversial figures of the WWF, gaining popularity for her stunning looks, charisma, and bold persona that pushed boundaries during the Attitude Era. And while Lesnar is often seen as the ultimate symbol of raw strength, masculinity, and athletic dominance, his relationship with Sable might come as a surprise to some, especially since he is known for his quiet, no-nonsense personality, which stands in sharp contrast to her glamorous and outspoken wrestling career. In WWF, Sable's career was defined by boldness, glamour, and an unapologetically attention-grabbing presence. Yet despite the contrast in their personalities, she and Brock Lesnar have been together for nearly 2 decades, raising a family in quiet seclusion away from the wrestling spotlight. Interestingly, Sable has never returned to WWE in any official role since her departure, and the reasons behind this remain open to speculation. Some suggest it could be tied to her dramatic 1999 exit, when she filed a lawsuit against the company for sexual harassment and unsafe working conditions, while others believe her absence may simply reflect Lesnar's selective, business-focused approach to wrestling, which aligns with her decision to stay out of the limelight. What is certain, though, is that Brock Lesnar has not only managed to keep his career and family life off the internet, but has also perfected the art of living privately, making his quiet lifestyle almost as legendary as his achievements in the ring. In stark contrast to many wrestlers who thrive on fame, unlike many wrestlers who thrive on fame and constant visibility, Brock Lesnar has chosen the opposite path, stepping away from the spotlight to embrace a reclusive lifestyle. Living on a vast farm in the rural stretches of Saskatchewan, Canada, Lesnar has built a life completely removed from the glitz of WWE and UFC. His decision to settle there reflects his deep love for solitude and the outdoors, as his property is said to include wide-open land where he spends his time hunting, fishing, and enjoying the calm of nature, activities he has often admitted he prefers over the chaos of public life. For a man who once performed in front of thousands of roaring fans, this retreat provides the peace and simplicity he values most. And it shows that his secluded lifestyle is not just about escaping fame, but about choosing the kind of life that truly fulfills him. Brock Lesnar is also deeply protective of his family, making sure that his wife, former WWE star Sable, and their children live far away from public scrutiny. Unlike many celebrities who share every detail of their lives on social media, Lesnar completely avoids those platforms, and he rarely grants interviews, often expressing bluntly how much he dislikes the invasiveness that comes with fame. His quiet life on the farm stands in stark contrast to his on-screen persona, where he is seen as the fierce and unstoppable beast incarnate. Yet at home, he is simply a man who enjoys the calm rhythm of rural living. By peeling back the layers of Lesnar's life beyond the WWE image, we discover a man who lives strictly on his own terms. What could possibly go wrong for him, right? Well, welcome to this Dark Side episode of The Legend, where you're about to uncover more sides of Brock Lesnar that rarely make headlines, beginning with his doping suspension in UFC. His return to the Octagon in 2016 was one of the most anticipated comebacks in mixed martial arts, as he stepped in to fight Mark Hunt at UFC 200, showcasing the same raw power that had defined his career. The power and athleticism that once made Brock Lesnar a dominant force in MMA were on full display in his return. But the victory was quickly tainted by controversy when he tested positive for clomiphene, a banned substance under the UFC's anti-doping policy. Clomiphene, classified as a selective estrogen receptor modulator, is often used to counteract the side effects of performance-enhancing drugs or as part of hormone treatment. Lesnar failed 2 separate tests, one during an out-of-competition screening before the fight and another on the very night of the event. After these revelations, the U.S. anti-doping agency handed him a 1-year suspension, fined him $250,000, and overturned his victory against Mark Hunt, officially ruling the bout a no contest. The fallout from this scandal was massive, as Lesnar's reputation, once built on dominance and raw natural ability, took a serious blow, leaving critics and fans alike questioning the legitimacy of his accomplishments in both MMA and professional wrestling in the aftermath of the scandal. Questions were raised not only about Lesnar's future in MMA, but also about his credibility in professional wrestling, with Mark Hunt openly expressing his frustration and accusing both Lesnar and the UFC of damaging the integrity of the sport. The suspension effectively marked the end of Lesnar's UFC career, as he chose not to return to the Octagon after serving the ban, leaving this episode as one of the most hotly debated chapters of his legacy and a lasting reminder of the challenges combat sports continue to face with doping and fair competition. Despite his incredible list of accomplishments, the shadow of this controversy still lingers, complicating an otherwise legendary career. However, Lesnar's brushes with the law have not been limited to his time in the UFC, as even in his early WWE days, he faced legal trouble. In January 2001, while training in WWE's developmental program in Louisville, Kentucky, Lesnar was arrested after police discovered what they believed to be a large quantity of illegal substances in his possession. The story quickly made headlines and cast serious doubt on the future of a young athlete who had already begun to attract attention for his extraordinary size, strength, and potential. Lesnar's dominance in the squared circle was already turning heads, but the arrest cast a dark cloud over his rising career, as he faced accusations of possessing controlled substances that carried serious legal consequences. As the news spread, speculation ran wild about what the substances were and how they might affect his reputation and future in wrestling. However, the case took an unexpected twist when laboratory tests revealed that the substances in question were not illegal drugs at all, but rather legal hormones that Lesnar was reportedly using as supplements. With that revelation, the charges were dropped and the case was officially closed, lifting the legal burden from his shoulders. Still, the incident served as an early warning of the scrutiny and challenges that come with fame, especially in the high-stakes world of sports entertainment. Fortunately, the setback proved temporary, as Lesnar's career quickly rebounded and he went on to achieve monumental success in WWE, becoming one of the most recognizable and dominant figures in the industry. Even if the 2001 arrest left a brief mark on his early years in the end, the 2001 arrest became little more than a minor footnote in the story of a man who would go on to redefine dominance in both wrestling and mixed martial arts. Yet Lesnar's so-called crime-free years did not last long, as trouble soon caught up with him again, this time far from the rings of WWE or the UFC. The next controversy ties directly to one of his many private pursuits outside the spotlight: hunting. In December 2011, Brock Lesnar found himself in legal trouble in Alberta, Canada, after being accused of violating local wildlife regulations during a hunting trip. Canadian authorities charged him with multiple infractions, including the improper tagging of an animal, a requirement under Alberta's hunting laws designed to ensure ethical hunting practices. While some of the charges were eventually dismissed, Lesnar chose to plead guilty to the specific violation of failing to properly tag a mule deer he had hunted, a decision that resulted in a $125 fine and a 6-month suspension from hunting in Alberta. Following the court ruling, Lesnar accepted responsibility for the mistake, with his legal team stressing that the incident appeared to be an oversight rather than deliberate misconduct. They also highlighted that the more serious accusations, including claims of wasting meat, had been dropped, showing that the situation was not as severe as some early reports had implied. Still, for Lesnar, an avid outdoorsman and passionate hunter, the suspension served as a frustrating consequence, keeping him away from one of his favorite pastimes for half a year. Despite this setback, the incident did little to harm his public image, and Lesnar remained focused on his career, maintaining the immense popularity that kept him at the forefront of professional wrestling and combat sports. Lesnar's accomplishments in combat sports easily overshadowed the hunting infraction, and in many ways, that worked in his favor. But for all his pursuits as an NFL hopeful or an outdoorsman, at his core, Lesnar has always been a wrestler, and it was wrestling that truly brought fans closer to him. Still, not all was smooth in that world either, as disagreements over his WWE contract soon turned into a major controversy. In 2004, after parting ways with WWE, Lesnar's post-wrestling ambitions hit a serious roadblock when he was bound by a restrictive non-compete clause that prevented him from joining any other wrestling promotion or pursuing similar entertainment ventures until 2010. The terms effectively sidelined him from the industry for 6 years. A huge blow for someone who had risen to the top of WWE so quickly and wanted to explore new paths. Believing the clause was overly restrictive and damaging to his career, Lesnar decided to fight back. And in February 2005, he took the matter to court. He filed a lawsuit against WWE, claiming that the non-compete clause was unreasonable and unfairly prevented him from making a living in his chosen profession. What followed was a drawn-out legal battle that kept both wrestling fans and industry insiders watching closely, as Lesnar attempted to carve out a new path beyond WWE, including a bold, though short-lived, attempt to join the NFL's Minnesota Vikings. The case dragged on for more than a year before finally reaching a resolution in 2006, when both parties agreed to a confidential settlement. While the specific terms were never made public, the outcome effectively freed Lesnar from the shackles of the original agreement, granting him the freedom to explore other wrestling promotions and combat sports opportunities. For Lesnar, this was more than a legal victory. It was a pivotal turning point that allowed him to chase the next phase of his career on his own terms. Despite all the ups and downs, Lesnar's career bounced back in a massive way as he gained worldwide fame not only as a UFC champion, but also as one of WWE's biggest attractions when he returned in 2012. Beyond the image of a fighter who takes on every challenge head-on and treats every setback as an opportunity, Lesnar has also shown glimpses of his softer side outside the ring. Brock Lesnar is best known for his terrifying aura, always portrayed as a cold and merciless competitor in and out of WWE, with his beast incarnate persona rarely breaking, since he built his entire career on being an unstoppable force who never shows weakness or emotion. Yet, in January 2020, fans saw something completely different when Lesnar surprised everyone with a lighthearted moment on Monday Night Raw, briefly breaking the myth of his unshakable, stone-faced character during one of his usual intense promos with his advocate Paul Heyman. Brock Lesnar was unexpectedly interrupted by WWE veteran R-Truth, who brought his trademark comedy into the segment. R-Truth mistakenly declared that he was entering the Royal Rumble to eliminate Paul Heyman instead of Lesnar, and his over-the-top delivery had everyone laughing. The mix-up was so hilarious that even Lesnar, who is known for never breaking character, couldn't hold it in and burst into laughter right there in front of the live audience. The crowd erupted with cheers, and fans at home also loved seeing this rare side of him. For someone who is usually seen as serious, cold, and fearsome, this unscripted moment gave fans a refreshing look at Lesnar's lighter side. That short laugh quickly turned into one of the most talked about highlights, showing that behind his beast incarnate persona, Brock is still human and can enjoy a genuinely funny moment just like anyone else. This softer side to Brock's beastly persona isn't limited to the ring. It also shows backstage where the cameras can't reach. According to many of his colleagues, Brock truly is a force both on and off screen. Inside the ring, he brought his unmatched intensity with a hard-hitting style, while outside of it, he carried an intimidating aura, often letting his advocate Paul Heyman do most of the talking for him. In recent years, as Lesnar's schedule became less frequent, fans began to admire not just his dominance, but also the subtle, more layered aspects of his performances. Fellow wrestlers have also revealed more about the man behind the beast incarnate, describing him as a true professional with a surprising amount of focus and attention to detail that completely contrasts his fearsome image. What's even more surprising is that many have called him a friendly and approachable figure backstage, a sentiment that was echoed by a current WWE star who shared her own unexpected encounter with him. Bayley, a standout member of WWE's SmackDown roster, once recounted a personal story that gave fans an entirely different perspective on Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar completely defied Bayley's expectations when their paths crossed backstage. When asked who surprised her the most, she admitted it was Brock. She explained that she expected him to be standoffish, the type who didn't want anyone talking to him or even looking at him. Instead, he turned out to be the exact opposite, soft-spoken, polite, and genuinely welcoming. Bayley recalled how Brock walked right up to her, shook her hand, and said, "Hey, welcome," which left her stunned. She described the moment as awesome, praising him as not only really nice, but also surprisingly cool. This story adds to the evidence that behind the intimidating aura and brutal heavyweight image, Brock Lesnar is, at his core, a calm and humble human being. However, his career in WWE hasn't only been about dominance and fear. It has also included moments that broke new ground and even set standards within the industry. One such example came in April 2002, when a young Lesnar delivered something that would go down in history, WWE's first ever unprotected chair shot. As Brock Lesnar was rising through the ranks in his early WWE career, he found himself in a defining moment during a heated encounter with Jeff Hardy. The clash reached its peak when Hardy delivered a vicious, unprotected chair shot directly to Lesnar's head, reportedly the first time Lesnar had been struck this way with a steel chair. The moment stunned the audience and became a powerful statement in Lesnar's journey as he was still establishing his reputation as a dominant force in WWE. At the time, unprotected chair shots to the head were fairly common in wrestling, often used to add intensity and drama to rivalries, but they carried serious risks. Hardy's strike was raw and unrestrained, showcasing the kind of brutal physicality that defined WWE's programming during the early 2000s. For Lesnar, already known for his toughness and durability, the incident was an early test of his resilience in a business where danger was always real. In the years since, WWE has completely banned unprotected chair shots to the head due to the growing understanding of their long-term dangers, especially concussions and chronic traumatic conditions. Looking back, moments like the Hardy-Lesnar chair shot remain etched in history as reminders of how much the industry has evolved to protect its performers, while also highlighting the lengths stars like Lesnar endured in order to build their legacies. The Hardy-Lesnar encounter now stands as a reminder of an era when the physical toll on wrestlers was often overshadowed by the pursuit of spectacle. But it also marked the beginning of change as the brutal culture of unprotected chair shots was finally abolished. That 2002 moment became a notable part of Lesnar's early career. Yet in hindsight, the eventual ban would protect him from even greater risks, especially since in 2009 he faced a far scarier battle, one not inside a ring or cage, but within his own body. Brock Lesnar's meteoric rise in mixed martial arts came to a sudden halt when he was diagnosed with diverticulitis, a painful and dangerous digestive disease where small pockets in the intestines become inflamed or infected, leading to severe abdominal pain, fever, and debilitating symptoms. For a man who built his entire life on raw strength and dominance, the illness was life-altering. Lesnar's condition became public when he was forced to pull out of a UFC title defense against Shane Carwin, and its severity required emergency surgery to remove part of his colon, followed by months of recovery. In later interviews, Lesnar revealed that the disease had gone undiagnosed for far too long, leaving him unable to train or compete at his usual level. At one point, the situation became so severe that his life itself was hanging in the balance. Lesnar openly admitted that during his struggle with diverticulitis, he feared for his life, and the diagnosis, along with the surgery, became a true turning point in his career. Although he made a remarkable return to the octagon in 2010 and even re-established himself as a top contender, the lasting effects of the disease continued to weigh him down. His trademark explosiveness and stamina, once the foundation of his fighting style, were never quite the same, and by 2011 his MMA career came to an end following a loss to Alistair Overeem. Yet in typical Brock Lesnar fashion, he refused to be defined by setbacks. Instead, he returned to professional wrestling and reclaimed his place as one of WWE's most celebrated and dominant stars, proving that no obstacle could truly contain him. His ability to break barriers and adapt to any arena of competition became part of his legend. By now you've heard of his unforgettable WWE era and his high-profile UFC days, but what many forget is that Lesnar also took a surprising detour into another sport altogether. In 2004, at the very height of his wrestling career, Brock Lesnar made the shocking decision to chase a new dream, professional football, despite not having played the game since his high school years. Brock. Lesnar set his sights on the NFL, determined to prove his athleticism and adaptability on a completely different stage, and this ambition led him to try out for the Minnesota Vikings, where he hoped to secure a spot as a defensive tackle. His journey into football was anything but ordinary, yet his reputation for incredible strength and raw athleticism quickly turned heads during the team's training camp, where he impressed coaches and players alike with his work ethic and physicality. Reports from that time confirm Lesnar wasn't simply there for publicity or treating it like a WWE storyline. He was serious about earning his place, even declaring, "This is no stunt," to emphasize his genuine commitment. Still, the odds were heavily stacked against him, as he was competing with athletes who had years of collegiate and professional football experience, while his own time away from the sport created a clear disadvantage. During his brief stint, he did suit up for the Vikings in several preseason games, proudly wearing the number 69 jersey, but the team ultimately released him before the start of the regular season. Although his NFL career never fully took off, the attempt alone highlighted Lesnar's fearless drive to step out of his comfort zone and chase greatness in any arena. After testing his limits in football, Brock Lesnar eventually returned to WWE, but his brief stint with the Minnesota Vikings still stands as proof of his relentless drive to chase passions no matter how unconventional they seemed. Yet Lesnar's raw power and dominance, which carried him through every stage of his career, can be traced all the way back to his college years, where he was molded into a competitor destined for greatness. Long before becoming a household name in professional wrestling and mixed martial arts, Lesnar had already carved out a reputation as one of the most dominant amateur wrestlers in the nation. Competing at the collegiate level, he combined sheer strength with surprising agility and unshakable determination, reaching the pinnacle of his amateur career when he captured the NCAA Division I Heavyweight Wrestling Championship in 2000. Representing the University of Minnesota, Lesnar quickly became a standout figure, his imposing size and tireless work ethic making him a force to be reckoned with and laying the foundation for the global superstar he would later become. During his time with the Golden Gophers, Brock Lesnar consistently outperformed some of the best amateur wrestlers in the country, building an incredible 106-5 record in his collegiate wrestling career and earning All-American honors twice. His biggest achievement came in 2000 when he won the NCAA Division I heavyweight title by defeating Iowa's Wes Hand in the championship match. This victory not only cemented Lesnar's reputation as one of the top amateur wrestlers of his era, but also proved his ability to shine under pressure. The win showed that his success was not only due to physical strength, but also to mental toughness and smart strategy on the mat. No matter how much Lesnar has poured into his professional career, he has also invested deeply in everything he loves to do away from the ring and the spotlight. Beyond the glamour of wrestling, Brock Lesnar is also a business owner with several successful ventures. Now, let's move into the final revelation of this video, Lesnar's business side. Beyond his decorated career in wrestling and MMA, he has also stepped into business projects, media appearances, and product endorsements. Though unlike many athletes who chase sponsorships and media attention, Lesnar has taken a different approach. Brock Lesnar is known for being very selective about the projects he chooses, a decision that reflects his private personality and his desire to stay in control of his public image. His business ventures and endorsements usually match his tough, no-nonsense persona. focusing on things that connect with his real lifestyle and passions. Instead of chasing flashy sponsorships that don't fit his character, Lesnar has backed brands related to hunting, outdoor gear, and activities that represent who he truly is. One of his most notable partnerships was with the clothing and equipment company Jimmy John's, whose logo was displayed on his shorts during his UFC career, making the sponsorship feel natural and consistent with his brand. Known as a straightforward and tough competitor, Brock Lesnar has not only focused on endorsements, but has also stepped into the business world with his own beef jerky line called Bearded Butcher Brock Lesnar Beef. This project reflects his passion for hunting and successfully turned it into a profitable venture. Lesnar has also made appearances in the media world, though he rarely seeks the spotlight. He was featured in the popular video game WWE SmackDown, Here Comes the Pain, which fans still remember fondly, and he has continued to appear in other WWE-related games over the years. What makes Lesnar stand out is his careful and deliberate approach to business opportunities, always choosing projects that match his image and values. Thank you for staying with us until the end of this journey, and for more stories like this, click the next card on the screen. Until next time.